All right, you guys. Hey, I'm gonna try that again. Don't know why my laptop blocks me. Well, this new streaming app that I don't have installed is blocking me. So, in any case, I had to use my cell phone. So, that's the first time that happened. So I think I got to uninstall some things. So anyway, you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ali. You're on my Where's Ali YouTube channel. And today I wanted to chat about something that I feel like keeps coming up in discussions, just specifically with women, because I've been chatting a lot with other ladies who are travelers like myself or wanting to travel and different things. But of course, anything that we talk about can apply to anyone. Please feel free to chime in. Let me make sure I got the comments turned on. Because I always find after the fact that that it does not show the comments after the fact. So I think sometimes the settings get changed a little bit here and there. So anyway, all right, you guys. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this whole notion around being able to express your feelings when promises are broken, right? And do we, like, I feel like this might even be something that, I don't know if there's a level of where you encounter this more, or, as a traveler, we tend to get people who make a lot more promises and things like that. I don't know. That's why I said I feel like it's a universal type of conversation. And I was thinking about this because I was having a conversation with a fellow traveler, and just talking about the nuances of being out here in this world, exploring it differently than others have explored, or anyone in your family or in your friend circle has explored, right? And doing it a little bit differently, and maybe not having as much support in it, and so it just looks new. It looks like, sometimes it looks haphazard, and that comes across different ways for different people, different situations. Give me a second, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that it's coming across, because a lot of times I can't see it until after the fact. So, all right, looks like it's playing okay, and I just want to make sure that the comments are going to upload properly, because I will tell you, I do get it kind of sucks when you go back and the comments and things that people have been sharing never show up. So you don't get to elaborate on the conversation that you are having, because sometimes when I'll go back, I'll look at the comments, and that'll afford me, to maybe express something a little bit differently than how it was received, or elaborate on something, or whatever the case may be. So I like having the comments. Plus, as people jump on and watch this later, because I do know that it is midday on a Monday for everybody, or for most of us, but being able to look and check back and see what other people think too. Helps open up that dialogue. And this, like I said, the title is for ladies, and it's, mainly because as I'm traveling, I'm a, you know, woman traveler, and, you know, even the experiences, traveling or not traveling in life, I see them from a woman's perspective. And so it's just something that I see quite often. And that's around, this notion that um, sometimes we hear, when a woman doesn't get what she wants, she gets mad, she gets angry. And I wanted to kind of go back and say, well, is she angry because she didn't get what she wanted, or is she angry? And I know there's always multiple sides of this, right? But on the surface level, or is she angry because she didn't get what someone promised, right? And so I feel like, we've gotten into this space of there's a lot of things that are happening, and I'll talk about it from just, the female perspective, as well as, being a traveler. And, sometimes when you're out here, especially when you're out here in the unknown, doing your own thing. And now you may be a little bit more reliant or wanting to rely on people, and how that could really be difficult and detrimental. And, just as women, what I'm saying is we're having to rethink, how we manage and function on a daily basis, how we receive things. How many times do we, accept, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and like where that comes from. And I just wanted to, jump on and, get you guys feedback too, as well. Is this something where, you know, you look and you realize that maybe the stigma or the stereotype of the angry Black woman or the angry woman in general is a little far-fetched. It's a little, maybe I'll change the title to, is she justified as an angry Black woman? Is that title justified? I'll write that little note down. Because is it because she's angry about, A, B, and C? This is how I want my, we hear this controlling narrative all the time. But we also kind of skim over, well, how did and why was that an expectation? Why were things, why did she think this was going to happen? And so I feel like so much of, we all go through this process of redefining ourselves, or not all of us, but a lot of us go through the processes of redefining ourselves, or figuring out this new space, or we're doing something different, or we're wanting to do something different, and all these things. And then we have people saying, okay, you don't do it all by yourself. And now we in this movement of no more she man and she Hulk and she Ra and woman queen king, or whatever, we're like trying to lay down all of these burdens of this extra responsibility, right? And I want to add to that and say, let's add, laying down this burden's responsibility of, being angry, of being mad because you didn't get what you wanted, and really starting to look and pay attention to, is, am I not getting what I want, or am I not getting what was promised to me, right? And then like dig into when it happens over and over, because I think it happens a lot. Why is that? Why is that acceptable? Why accepting broken promises and excuses? Why is that something that we kind of just glaze over? And then we walk around and we're angry, 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 but we never actually get that, whatever it was that was, kind of put out there, and oftentimes what's offered is offered unsolicited a lot. It's offered unsolicited offerings, and sometimes it's unsolicited offerings, as well as um, you don't have to do that. Oh, but I want to, and then you never do, right? So thinking about how these things kind of happen. And I'm trying to be a little neutral here, because I know, like, if I could jump into this and really, like, I just my notes around, different scenarios and things that happen, you know, um, and then how it's turned around into this whole, negative narrative about women in general. And that's kind of why I was focusing on women today. So, like, just a day-to-day thing, we're out, everybody's out here trying to make it, trying to figure it out, like I was saying earlier. But what I'm finding is in 2022, I feel like there's a lot more women out here exploring this solo traveling um space. let's digital nomad let's try out something different. Let's slow quit our jobs. Let's be happier. We see these articles about, Americans are happier because they became digital nomads and they moved to another country or something like that, but they didn't tell their bosses, or, all of these different things. So we're all kind of, I feel like we're tapping into new waters. And I feel like as we're tapping into these new waters and we're kind of figuring out, like, there's a different side that makes us happy, as we're figuring these things out, that we also should be able to address some of the things that didn't make us happy, and either fix it or release it, right? Um, and I feel like this is one that has just stuck with us. Is this angry woman thing, angry Black woman thing, that we just walk around and we're mad all the time. And I just feel like, first of all, I ain't mad all the time. I don't want to be mad all the time. I don't even want to be around people who agitate me, and that's what kind of drew me into this whole thought process is, you know, why is it harder to release um, those energies and entities that pop up that are sometimes negative, are these constant um, what's the word I want to use? Oh my gosh, it's this constant um, oh, well, I guess we use the term gaslighting now, but that's not the term I was thinking of. But I guess that's the word that we use nowadays, so people probably would understand that. But this idea that, I'm gonna just sell you a pipe dream, whatever it is. It could be job related. I hear about people, not getting the provisions and things that were promised from jobs, and do you stay anyway? I remember, 30, 40 years ago. Okay, so I started working at 12. So let's say 30 years ago, getting into corporate America. And, you have all these things that you're promised, or as I was coming up and I've got people who are reporting to me in a management role, and, they're looking and going, okay, well, this isn't what I was promised when I applied, this, and we got to keep up with this facade, and we got to keep, where did we learn this whole concept that we have to accept broken promises, that we have to, it's just the way the world is, and you just got to deal with it. And I feel like we're, like, in the midst of the time where, no, you don't. And we're not. And I I want to offer some reassurance to the ladies out there that it's okay. It's okay to actually be like, um, yeah, I don't like this. I want to address the fact that this was what was stated. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask for this, but this is what was offered. This is what I got or didn't get, and now I'm agitated. And it's okay to be agitated, right? Now, that goes down the road of so many things. It's like, how many times are we going to be agitated? How many times are we going to be frustrated? How many times are we going to accept that for whatever reason, as we go through trying to figure things out, we maybe figure out why people, you know, are in our lives that do that to us. Which means we got to dig a little deeper. We got to do a little soul search. We got to look at what's on my face. What's on my face that says, come to me and promise me things that you're not ever going to deliver. What on my face says that I'm going to accept that. As we start to look and try to figure these things out, is there something about and that's that whole, oh, now it's the victim mentality. It's not that, but sometimes we have to identify what it is, and it may simply be, as soon as you see it, discard it. But what is it that is drawing that near? And I want to be like one of the few people that says, how we say we attract who we are and what we are. I am going to disagree with that. I think we do attract who and what we are, but I also think that we're like polar magnetizing people, just in general. We also attract people who need who we are, right? So you could be the opposite, spectrums. You could be a person who, is, kind and giving and caring and loving and all that. And you could be a person who's a complete jerk. And what happens is you'll attract somebody who thinks that they can help fix you and cuddle you. Oh my God, you just need some love. Or you are attracted to people who are going to cuddle you and say, oh, and accept these things. So is that where it starts? Like this, where did it begin that broken promises are acceptable? And I started thinking about this, and I was like, does it come from a place of lack in anything? So let's say it's a job, and this job has promised me that, I'm going to get the salary. This is what my requirements for the job is going to be, those two things. And I walk in, fine, I get the salary, but my workload and my requirements is like double beyond what the scope of what I applied for. However, I wanted to work with this company for whatever reasons, yada yada. I wanted to, maybe it's because I need these hours, and it's the only place that offers me these hours, right? And so, I'm like, okay, well, what else do I have to do? And so we start negotiating with this acceptance. And I think a big part of life too is that whole get me in the door, or I'll get you in the door, and then we're gonna see how serious you are. Because most people, if we're in a place of lack, if we're in a place where we need something, people know, entities know, systems know that we will put up with garbage because we need something, right? We can, I think, apply that logic to everything. I think, like, literally everything, whether it's employment, relationships, family, new dating situations, old dating situations. We could be in a marriage situation, and and I know there's gonna be guys on here going, yeah, but what about guys? I know, but I'm talking about the ladies today. I'm trying to focus on, how we as women want to start identifying these things that are happening so that we can empower ourselves in a different way than we've been allowed to empower ourselves. Like, we empower ourselves by becoming like untouchable, or you don't need anything. And I want us to get away from this strong like, I think until like people have literally been talking about, I ain't strong no more. I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm like, please, finally, I will, black fist to that, because we've been programmed to hold on to that mindset, or to garner it, and to soul seek it, and be this strong, and all of these things. But then we negate, on the flip side, who we really are, right? And I think that also begins to play into how we accept uh, broken promises, how and why we allow them to fester, linger, go on and on and on and on and on, right? And continue to come back. It's like, why do I keep going through the same thing? Why do I keep experiencing the same thing? And a lot of times it's because we don't ever really address what's happening. What just happened? Why did it happen? Not dwelling on it to say that you did something wrong, but so that you can identify it in the future, right? So, and I'm going to say these few things is like this one post that I saw. This one lady, I think she's on TikTok and Instagram, but she has these, like, she'll comment on, excuse me, mainly guys TikToks or something. They'll be like, men do not want a strong woman, or men do not want a confident woman, or women always, these things, types of things. And I'm just like, she has a lot of patience, because I ain't got a lot of patience, but I do like listening to some of the things she talks about. And there's just, a plethora of different posts and stuff like this. And one of the things that came to mind when I was thinking about, this acceptance um, of things that people are offering, is as we're getting into this time where we're wanting to shed this armor, we're wanting to shed all this strength, and this be strong and go, man, we want to shed all this. We're also becoming a little bit more susceptible to the offerings, the things that people are saying. Oh, well, I'll do this and I'll help you out, or I'll whatever, I'll shine your shoes today. I don't know. I'll pick up the kids. I'll assist you with setting up your business plan. We're gonna go and do this. One of the things I've seen in families where, you'll be in a relationship with someone, and they'll promise that they're gonna do something for you. And I'm not talking about simple things like take out the garbage, although that begins to wear you down. When a person says they're gonna take out the garbage, you never do. But things like, we got together because we were going to develop this plan. We had this plan. We had this goal, and we were wanting to be and do the same thing. And then you find out, well, the person really just has no drive, no energy to do any of these things. They're just really not pressing forward. And I feel like the more that we start to shed this strong exterior as women, as ladies, going into 2023 here in the next 5 months, that we've almost got to be even it's the balancing act of, okay, I want to shed this strong exterior, but I know I'm also opening myself up for more negativity, or to be a target, or for someone to take advantage. It's like being a traveler, and as soon as you get ready to get on a plane to go out of the country, everybody tells you to be safe, and you're like, but every day I walk around in a space that is completely not safe for me, and nobody tells me to be safe. But as soon as I get ready to do something different, now it's be safe, right? And so, it's just the idea that we're getting ready. We're in this phase in life as women of shedding, carrying all this weight. Like, I'm dropping the weight, and as I'm going through this process myself, I'm like, okay, this doesn't mean that all of the conspiring people and shadiness and all that is going to go away with all the drop weight. No, it probably means I'm going to get more. So how do I deal with it? And that's what made me just want to have this like live discussion. I was gonna record it, but then I was like, if I record it and do the editing, then I'm gonna edit half the stuff out. So sometimes it's just nice to just go live and just, it is what it is. I'll listen to it later. But please feel free to chime in and share you guys' thoughts on this. But it made me start thinking as I'm shedding this weight, as I'm becoming more free. Like, I hear the statements free AF. Y'all know what that means. Like, I can attest to that. Like, I'm feeling, even in this uncertainty, I've been in uncertainty for the last 24 months, and I'm even more uncertain. But one thing I'm completely certain of is this is what I want, right? And so as I'm shedding all this, I'm carrying all this baggage and all of this the facade of, queen and strength and fierce warrior and all of this stuff is great. But now how do I make sure that I'm not brought back down into the depths of hell that kind of promote the unhappiness and the being in spaces that don't feel good? How do I circumvent that? Because the reality is y'all know I'm a travel planner. Hey Shay, how are you? I think this stuff is coming over. Thank you so much. Thank you. They're developing. And I'm extremely happy. That's another live video I can do. But chime in. I know you definitely probably have some input about this as well. But one of the things as a travel consultant or guide, educator, things like that, like I plan. I'm a planner. The first thing I do is, every day I am on a planning app. Every day I'm looking at different things, not only for myself, but maybe I heard somebody say something or I'm looking at something. I'm just like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or, oh, like I have this full page of, one of my favorite pages is this list of places that we can visit and live, and what's the, visa time frame, for these different countries. Of course, like not all 193, but places that I would want to go, from 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months to, 1 year, so on and so forth, right? And so I'm always planning. And then I'm just sitting here thinking about this. And I was like, from a relationship standpoint, guys, do we plan for our future relationship wise, outside of wanting to be married and wanting to have kids? And do we plan for our mental sanctity? Do we plan not to repeat? Do we plan? So let's say you're in this awakened space, and when I do my intentful thinking, one of the things that I've learned along the way is to not. Okay, to not. You can NOT or NOTK NOT. So to not create and tie and create all this madness, but also to not create a negative stigma in our brain, because our brain naturally feeds off the things that we say and the things that we think, right? So if I'm always thinking of what not to do, that's on the forefront of me thinking of what I want to do. So let's flip it. All right, let's talk in positive terminology. When we plan, we're not planning for what we want. A lot of times, like, we go through these situations, whether it's work, whether it's work relationships, work settings, accepting jobs, different things, relationships, dating abroad. Y'all, I'm gonna do a whole, if you guys want to join, let me know. I'm gonna be talking about bringing sand to the beach. I don't have a date yet because I'm actually gonna be moving about this week, so please follow, because I'm gonna have probably some snippets and stuff. I know I got off track, but I just want to share that with you guys, of me moving around Ecuador and showing you how I'm going to be doing that, hopefully starting tomorrow. So in any case, I want to talk about those things in relationships and things. And if we never really address things that made us question, what did I say on here? Made us question ourselves, made us, go, let me tell you how many times I've dated in long-term relationships, and went back and allowed and accepted something because I thought, well, maybe I didn't give enough grace. Maybe I didn't try enough. Um, so we hear this, or maybe I didn't allow, or maybe it was me, or maybe, and all of these things. And then you end up finding out that, it is what you thought it was. The question now becomes, why did you accept it? Like, why do we keep going back? Or why do we not address, why do we feel like we have this timing crunch? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, well, if you don't do this in this amount of time, if you don't, have kids or get married. I talk to a lot of people, they find out that I'm 50 and they're like, I have a child and, well, he's not a child. He was a child. How do you say that as single people, who have children, older children? I have a child, but he's not a child anymore. He's an adult. I have an adult. I can't say I have an adult, but you know what I'm saying. I think about those kinds of things all the time. And they go, oh, so were you ever married? And I was like, no, never been married. And they're like, oh, you never been married. And I'm like, yeah, no, I've never been married. And the way I look at it is, first of all, nothing has enticed me enough to want to get engaged or be involved in something that is that permanent. And I know it doesn't have to be permanent, but I also am a frugal person. So why get into something where I'm gonna have to pay money to get out of it? That's the way I think, y'all. That's just me. But that doesn't mean that it's not right. Like marriage isn't right, and all these. I just have a different construct, a different view about marriage and companionship and what that means and how it can be established. So, but anyway, I found myself in past relationships, questioning, did I give something enough time? Was I accepting enough? Was I open enough? And I want to kind of thwart that a little bit, that thought process of thinking that you didn't do enough. Because I think that's what gets us into trouble too, is we start questioning where we are. And you guys hear me say this enough in my videos and stuff, and that is a lot of times we're chastised because, oh, you had this and you let it go, you had this. Men are taught to this way too. Oh, you let a good one go. Yeah, they may have let a good one go, both sides, men and women, but a lot of times we're not ready. So to ignore where you are in that moment, ignore the fact that you're not ready, is sometimes just as bad. So you'll walk into something that could be the most perfect situation, but you're questioning it, or it just doesn't feel right, and all these things. And whether it's you're not ready or they're not ready, something isn't right. But how often do we stay and turn a simple situation of two people being together into two people, now we've got 3 or 4 kids together because we're still trying to figure it out. We're still doing the human things of being engaged intimately, so we're bringing people into this world, right? And so this all ties into the broken promises things. How and why do we accept this illusion of somebody telling us something, not delivering, and it's okay, right? And so I'm just kind of backtracking as to why. Yeah, you thought it was Shay. Who was it? Who wasn't Tony Dungy? It was the other guy, NFL coach, and he was like, they are who we thought they were. And a lot of times that happens. We think something, we feel something, but something else tells us, no, stay and deal with it. No, stay and endure it. Or no, what else you gonna do? And that's that, bringing it back to like when you apply for that job and they tell you you're gonna have this, 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 and this, and then they don't deliver. And a year or two later, you're in it. You don't really know how to get out of it. And this happens in so many situations. You don't know how to get out of it. It's good enough, but it's still not what you want. And one of the things that I think travel planning has helped me begin to realize even more, is it's okay to go back and clean the slate, start all over. It's okay to take that spreadsheet. All right, let's create another tab. Let's try this another way. let's look at it from another way without being harsh to ourselves and saying that something is wrong with you. No, maybe you're getting to a point where you're starting to set boundaries. And I know we hate that word. That's another word that people are like, here we are with these boundaries. Yeah. Let me say this. It's one of the things I just hate. I hate to hear is men say, oh, now she want to act like she don't close her legs and she got boundaries when it comes to relationships after she done had 3, 4, 5 kids or whatever the case may be. I hate that. Like I hate that with a passion because I'm just like, why can't people decide that that other life didn't work for them? Maybe it took 5 years for them to realize it, but dang, that's like I'm just like, guys, we're not allowed to change because you want this person to be in the same space that they were before. Not loving themselves for who they are so that you can take advantage of them. Foul, that's so foul. But the other thing I want to say about that is one of the things that just blows my mind is how guys don't understand where women get this notion of boundaries from when not all, but many of us have males in our lives, whether it's a male friend, brother, father, right? And sometimes son, telling us, you deserve better. You know, how many of you all have husbands and you have daughters and your husbands are telling your daughter you ain't dating until you 40, you're not going out. That's a piece of, let me tell you all, he wants all these things. So we grow up having this vision of what a man's supposed to look like and what he's supposed to do. And then we have men chastising us because our fathers, our brothers, our cousins, our uncles, our nephews taught us to have boundaries. And that's why I say women, that having the boundaries isn't bad. Knowing that broken promises are not a good thing and you can express it is not a bad thing. Like that is a good thing. Because every little bit, every little, step you take in shedding the old weight, putting on new lighter armor, because we always have to have armor on. We always need to guard ourselves. But putting on lighter, different armor is not just an okay thing because, oh, well, yeah, I get it. You guys are going through this phase. It's what we've always been taught. It's almost like going back to what we know. It's the I'm worthy of myself to take the time that I need to vet a situation and see if I want to do these things, to be a part of it, to, whatever. So anyway, this whole broken promises, this whole excuse thing, it drives me crazy on a couple sides because I don't think we take the time to really think about it. Because so from the receiving end, let's say as a woman, I'm receiving the broken promises. But from the man's perspective, if we're talking about relationships or we're even talking about a job, why do they think it's okay to do? What along the way has told people it's okay to lie to people? It's okay to lead people on. It's okay to gaslight people. It's okay to tell people that you're going to do something and you have no intentions on doing it. I call it the yes syndrome. I used to say yes man syndrome, but women do it too. Jobs do it. Our government systems do it. We have it in every facet of life. And there's not a lot that you can change on a singular level. Like we can't walk in and go, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this. We're going to change. It just doesn't happen that way. Otherwise, many things would have changed, right? But how do you start preparing yourself so that you don't accept it? You don't dwell in it. You don't sit in it. You don't mingle in it, and you don't wait in it. Okay? Dismantle this whole idea waiting for Superman. Like I think, one of the things I say a lot, and I know a lot of people don't like when I talk about religion, when I talk about this, the detriment of the system in which it is, not the believing in God part, but the part that says, I am going to wait for somebody to fix it and make it right. It just doesn't happen that way. because we all visualize things different, and we all benefit from this one thing differently, right? So let me think of an example. Okay. Um, 2021, 2022, a lot of people went into this, selling house frenzy, buying houses, but mainly selling property. And one of the things that I saw in between 2019, selling my house in Hoffman, through where we are today, is that when people want something, systems want something, they will lie, falsify, um, lead on, do certain things to reel you in, right? Only to go, okay, now that you're here, this is what we're actually going to do and what we're actually going to offer. And I saw that a lot with, the home buying situation where it was, okay, this is the offer. And everybody's wanting to top the next offer because, well, let me at least top it price wise, because most people want to look at price. Everybody's complaining about jacked up prices and all of that, but that always happens. We always have inflation. We always have a recession afterwards. And so if you're smart enough, you learn how to ride the wave. You learn how to buy low, sell high. I've heard that forever, right? But I noticed there was this thing that was happening where offers were being made that really weren't the intentful, honest offer. It was, let me get your attention so that now you're looking at me. So I'm raised up. I'm on the top end of I'm on the, I'm the top tier, top bar. But once you say, okay, you know what, let's see what you have. It's kind of like the dating thing. Okay, I've weaned out all the other people. Let's see what you have based on what you told me that you like. And I've been through this too, where you're dating somebody and they're appealing to everything that you want, even if you haven't expressed it. You haven't said, okay, this is, you're not a person who's writing down everything that a person has to do, but you're talking and, these people are, sharing, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And so you kind of get wrangled in. From you guys who are on listening, how long do you stay wrangled? How long, you don't have to give exact examples, but, do you find that wanting something to be true stagnates you more than, okay, so it's like, I got this extreme and I got this extreme. This extreme is hell no, we won't go. Like, I'm so not interested in this extreme. This extreme is like, what? Okay, I'm down for it. And somebody offers this extreme right next to the extreme, or maybe even more. So we jump on this like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want. But then we start to find out by simply listening, and it could be job, it could be relationship, personal relationship, whatever, platonic relationship, friendships, meeting people, coworkers, whatever. You start to find out that what's actually being offered doesn't match the verbal offer. But we stay in it. We stay. Why? Because we're trying to find out if which part is a lie, right? Well, no, if I give them a chance, I'm pushing. Let me back up and give them time. But why do you need to back up and give any entity, person, or system time when they promised this particular thing? Maybe they didn't give a date, but they promised. And that's why sometimes being intentful, like a lot of people are like, I remember I used to hear all the time, don't go on the first, second, or third date asking people about what they want to do and how they want to live and things that they like in life. Let it just come out. So you want a person to sit and waste months and months, because you could be a person that's like, I'm that calculating kind of person. I'm a calculating person. I want to sit back and waste all your time, because I know that if I waste enough of your time, you'll be so invested job, relationship, system. You'll be so invested because in the time that you wasted, that you won't want to not waste any more of your time because you're not looking at it like that. You're not looking and going, why the hell would I keep doing this tomorrow? Oh, because they're going to change. What about them not changing makes you think that they're going to change, right? So then we get to this point where now we feel uncomfortable expressing that the broken promise has made us mad. And the flip side is somebody's telling this story that, oh, they just angry, they ain't get what they wanted. They just want what they want. They don't care about anything else. Some instances that is true. Some instances people don't promise things, but I think that's a lie to a certain extent. You being present in a situation is a promise. Think about an insurance company. And I have examples. Anytime I bring up this stuff, it's because it's like something just crossed my mind of something that happened. I got in a car accident years and years ago because I'm driving down the street and a car decides to turn from a 1-3 lane into the next 3 lane and hit me. And because I did not anticipate that they were going to do that, because I was physically there, I was partly at fault, right? So I'm going to go back because then I'm going to talk about that whole situation and get off track. But it's this idea that if I wait long enough, because I've got time invested, I've got something invested in it, I want to see it through. But haven't you already seen it through when you've identified the first lie? Oh, it's a little white lie, or a little, I don't even like to say little white lie no more. It's a little cream colored lie. They're just, oh, well, they didn't really mean it that way. They were just kind of saying something because, oh my God, they felt so much pressure. Well, why is that acceptable? Shay, share with me. Anybody listening, you guys experience this. And I'm this is nothing new that I'm talking about. Like, this isn't like the new part for me is recognizing and realizing that it's okay to say this is not okay for me. This isn't working for me. Stop doing this to me. And one of the other things that I've learned about stop doing this to me is stop doing it to yourself. Because that is us waiting for somebody else to treat us the way that we feel we deserve to be treated while we're sitting in a negative situation showing people that we don't think we deserve to be treated any better. So how does that work? How does that work? I want you to treat me better, but I'm going to sit in this horrible situation where you're treating me like crap. Everybody can see you're treating me like crap, but I'm not leaving work or relationship or system, traveling, relationship, marriages, dating, jobs that are not fulfilling or not living up to what they said, because you are going to do right by me. Even Oprah left. She was like, you gonna do right by me, but she left. She had said it in the car. She was driving off with Suge and them, right? Even she realized, I'm not going to sit here and be in misery waiting for you to do right by me, right? So why do we do that? Why do we feel like there's just such this, oh my God, I can't say anything. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to seem like the bad person. And I just feel like I'm just going to throw this Black woman thing in here. As a Black woman, I feel like the counts against us, bringing up something, especially in the workplace or relationship, anytime we say anything, and I don't want to bring in the medical field, because now we're just like, if I see another Black doctor that gets fired from just speaking truth or just, whatever, it's just like, so now we make it into the field, but now they saying they fired us because we're not following proper protocols and guidelines and, all that stuff, right? But we find ourselves as women, as Black women specifically, in these places where we want to speak up. We're afraid because we finally made it. We're Cheryl Lee Ralph. We're Zendaya. We're, the first ofs, there's Sidney Poitiers. We're Sammy Davis Juniors. We're the first of. So do we want to ruin it for everybody else by saying something, by bringing it to someone's attention, not getting out of it, not getting what we want, but we got the accolade, we got something from it, we got the job, we got the check, we got the boyfriend that's sitting next to us, but we're miserable. So how many of you guys feel like you experienced this? You've been in a situation, multiple situations, where you're being told things, and I've even looked at it as, okay, you're being told things and they're not being followed through with. And I've even looked at it as far as the little penny any things, because it's just like, well, I think once a person knows that they can just pull your strings, pull you along, then you're gonna go and not do anything. I'm kind of I've been in multiple situations like that. And we encounter them every day, right? So I'm gonna kind of give a high and a low, up and a down, or a way that I think about how I maneuver through this, right? But except like getting that even from the smallest of thing, and then somebody belittling how you feel because you're like, well, why do you say that? Why do you even offer something that you know you're not gonna be able to fulfill? You're not at a capacity. I would prefer for you to say, hey, I can't do anything. I really would like to, but I can't. I would rather hear that than keep hearing falsities of, oh my God, I'm gonna do this. Let me tell you, I'm from a relationship standpoint, I can't stand, I date, I'm not married, so I date. And ain't nothing like a guy telling you what he would do if. I don't care about the ifs. Then you're not where I am. Stop taking up my mental space. Because I'm going to tell you one thing for certain. We all know as human beings that when you start proclaiming things to people about what you would do, and you watch them enough that you know that these are kind of the things, like they love traveling. I'm just gonna say me, I love traveling. I love all that stuff, right? And it would be cool. I would love for people to experience all this. And you get people that offer that up, or I'll do that if once I this, that, and the other. That's that. I'm gonna hold space in your brain. I'm gonna hold space in your psyche, so that you always think about, like, or we've talked and we've developed some sort of kinship or something like that. And so now I'm just gonna feed on it. Every now and again, I'm just gonna feed on it. I'm gonna throw you a little biscuit, right? This is what I'm saying. Unless the biscuit is what you want, unless you're getting something from it, and this is how people be like, oh, people will be in it for whatever. Everybody does something for something. Everybody is doing something for some sort of reward. So to say, even a baby cries to get something, some attention, diaper change, food, pain. Can't explain something. I mean, some babies just cry because they know how to get over. Because I don't watch some YouTube videos and I'll be watching these babies and they be like, it cracks me up, right? Okay. Not when they grown and crazy, but you know what I'm saying. So, but I'm talking about the other side, not that side, not the truly phony side, but the side, that says, we all are in it. We're in this, we're in it to get something from it, right? And everything. You don't go to work every day just to go to work. You're going to work for a paycheck. Even if you go and you volunteer and you don't get money back, you get time. You get that feeling of freedom of I've gifted someone something, I've done something. Or maybe you're not even looking at it as you're serving someone else, but you're looking at what they've done for you, like they have fed into you. You're still expecting to receive something. We sleep because we're tired, because we're going to get something out. Our body is going to rebuild and replenish itself, right? So this whole notion that we live life void of reward is BS, first of all. And I don't know what system taught us that, but y'all know which one taught us that. It's BS, and that's how it feeds into these other non-alignments, other systems, other belief systems that say it's okay to accept half earth truths as being okay. Because in the end, you're going to be vindicated. When's the end? Who determines the end? When's the end? When you die? When you never had happiness? Right? And this all for me started with little conversations, things that, hey, Gail, I am in Ecuador now. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. If this is good combo, guys, give me some thumbs up if you don't mind. Share, comment, say hello, just say hi. A simple hi in the comments would be fantastic. Um, but yeah, this I thought about this because I was realizing that even in the very little things, like a lot of times we don't address this stuff until something big happens. Oh my God, yes, this is what happened, this, and the other, right? But we've allowed all the little things to happen and we negate, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal. It's a big deal in that there's a situation that has taught you to suppress expressing what you feel. We're not talking about how you express it. We're not talking about being belligerent. We're just saying, just being comfortable or feeling free enough to say, I don't like that. I don't like when you do that. You can leave it at that. You can stay in it if you want. But I don't like that. Because I guarantee you what starts to happen is when you start to express your lack of likeness of something, you begin to notice, because it's not about the other person going, oh my God, they're going to say something to me. Oh my God, so I'm going to lie even more, right? It's you hearing yourself constantly say, you don't like that. I don't like that. And then you start to have this tally book that in most relationships, most people who don't like tallying will say, oh, so you're keeping track. Well, yeah, I'm keeping track. Because if you're going to do this to me every day and I'm telling you I don't like it, somebody should be keeping track. Enough to the point that somebody walks away, right? And I know we hate that. We hate this whole idea. But guys, we just had a whole year of the great resignation. Everybody was quitting in 2021. Why? Because 2020 was just like the set off. They started firing people left and right for not getting a shot, only to come back in 2021 and 2022. Oh, the CDC is like, well, these boosters and these this and that. Oh, we really can't say this. And I'm not going to talk about COVID because I know somebody's going to jump on here and go, but you can't say it's not real. I didn't say it was not real. What I'm saying is what we realize is at some point when you get, when enough is enough, we tend to move when enough is enough. And we got to a point people literally start quitting. So now you can't say that there aren't any jobs. Now people are just not accepting BS. Like, you got companies trying to hire you for 80 hours a week for $12 an hour. And then saying, but you can make overtime. Well, I'm already working overtime. I'm not going to give you any benefits because you're going to be making overtime. So you could pay Cobra now. You could pay that $400, whatever, right? So it's almost like the system is backfiring within itself, but it does this every so many 20, 30, 40, 100 years. And this is when we start to wean out people who are paying attention to how the system works, because it's never going to change. This is the system everywhere. I cannot go to another country and I can't go to another country and be like, oh, it's so perfect over here. No, because you know what the people gonna tell me? The people gonna be saying the same thing about their country that I'm saying about mine. Well, not everywhere, because I've been to Cuba before, and I swear to God, them people them Cubans love their country. I mean, I think things might be a little bit different now, but I swear I was just like, to see how proud they were regardless. I mean, there's few places that are like that. But they still feel like, this is not what we want better, but they lived every day, like they show you how to be happy with what you have, and not in a squanderous kind of way, but in a way that's just like, man, we prideful, and we don't want this and that from this and that system. We will deal with it when we get to, which means that this is all right because this is our happy. Anyway, so I'm not gonna get off track. I'm gonna go backwards, right? But how often though, y'all? Shay, listen, just like this thing, like really, really took me, and it was me that took me there, because I was just like, how many times you gonna tell a person that something agitates you? How many times you gonna tell yourself, oh, it just gets on my nerves? But then you're gonna stay in it. So, couple things that happen, because I'm already at an hour. Couple things that happen. Thank you guys for tuning in, staying with me. Like I said, if you're still on, please give me a thumbs up, or say hello in the comments. Let me know that y'all are out there. Is, like I said before, we start to question ourselves. When we start to look at, somebody keeps promising me something, or they volunteer, like I'll be doing something and be like, oh, I'll do it for you, or something like that, or all this or all that. And it'll be like, and then they never do. And then you're just like, well, am I being petty if I bring it up because they said they were going to do something? But we're teaching ourselves to accept BS. We're teaching other people to present us with BS when we don't feel comfortable just calling out the BS. It doesn't have to be anything attached. It doesn't have to require a response. It could just simply be like, you know what? I'm tired of you doing that. I am so tired of you doing that. And once we get tired, guess what happens? We break the chain. We let it go. Like in Django at the beginning of the movie, when they killed the dudes up, the masses, whatever that was transporting them, and they walking in a line chained up, and they shot them all and killed them, and then they all sitting there looking at Jamie Foxx's character Django, and he like, y'all free, you can go. And they like, because they weren't ready. They weren't ready. You understand? Like I'm literally getting to these points, and I'm just like, why do I accept this? Why do I allow these types of things? And so, a couple things that I do is or things that I think about is do we not feel we're worthy of better treatment? Do we not feel that we deserve something else? Are we so afraid that there's nothing better? There's no better job. There's no better system. There's no better significant other out there waiting for us, or not waiting for us, living their life. And if we start living our life, we're going to crash into them, and then boom, see where that takes us. We'd rather stay. I'm going to say, well, they're going to get it right because they love me. No, they're not going to get it right because they love you. They love you the way that you are, accepting them the way that they are. So I think what happens is we take things to extreme. You know how they say, people say opposites attract to a certain level, y'all. Don't accept me the way that I am goes to a certain level, right? Like that doesn't mean that I have to accept somebody I don't like because this is the way that they are. It means accept people for who they are, but find what you like and go until you get that, right? But we're at this point, we're just so fearful. Time has got us like all like tied up in a knot, oh my God, like this person, well, it's the nicest person that I've met. Or, this is kind of the best job I'm in, applying. I get it. You need your money, do what you need to do. But when you walk into these situations that are not 100% what you want, keep them on that level. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to other people. I'm going to stay. I'm going to do this. You know what? No, call it what it is. You know what? This is good for now. It's good for now. If you just in a relationship for the sex, it's good for the sex right now. If you're in the relationship because somebody just wants you to be on their arm so they can pay and spend money, and that's okay with you, say that. Let's normalize being honest. Because guess what? Half the world is being honest and half the world is lying. And then we end up with each other. The honest people don't end up together, and the lying folks don't end up together. The honest people end up with the liars, liars end up with the honest people. And then we all unhappy, right? Right? So asking yourself, do we feel that we're worthy? Then we do this. Am I expecting too much? Oh my God. Maybe it's just putting too much pressure. They said they didn't want it. So they told you in the beginning that they didn't want something that you clearly wanted. And now you're asking yourself if you're putting too much pressure or if you're expecting too much. Walk away. It's so hard. The key at the end of this, I'm going to say it now, is to walk before you get so invested. time-wise, because time means so much to us, even though we think money is the root of everything. Time. We will stay in a million things because of time, y'all. We will stay in bad family relationships because of time, y'all. We will stay in horrible work situations. We can go right across the street to the competitor because of time, y'all. Listen, y'all, so I'm supposed to be traveling this week, and I'm gonna do the bus thing and hop on, hop off and see what happens. And one thing I know is I've set aside, if this ain't like up to speed or what I'm, and I've been into some crazy situations traveling, not like a stellar situation, but like situations where it's kind of like it's the bare, it's not the bare minimum, but it's basic, right? But if I feel like that's not gonna work for me, I got money set aside to do it a whole different way. Okay, well, this ain't working. I still want to go where I'm going, So it's get in, be honest with yourself. Is this what I want? Does it feel right? And if it don't feel right, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. That just means you're not ready for it, or that ain't what you want. You know what I'm saying? Okay. We got to stop not trusting our gut. Or let me put it in positive terms. We have to start trusting our gut. Start trusting our intuition. Why do we have it if we're not going to trust it? Why do we have it if we're going to allow somebody outside of us to tell us to question what naturally happens to your tummy, to your throat when it knots up? I don't care if it's past trauma that's making it happen. It means that that's not right for you right now. We got to stop forcing things to be right that aren't right, then getting upset because later on it ain't right, but it wasn't right to begin with. We were trying to force it because, ooh, it looked good. Ooh, all of that. Because I done been there, boo, ooh, and everybody else be gassing up people about how great they are, and you sitting there going, no, but maybe they are, because everybody else likes them. I mean, I'm sure some people think that way about me. They can be like, she's great on the outside appearance, but when you deal with her, oh my gosh, she's so much, or whatever. I'm not right for you, boo, and it's okay. Okay, all right. One of the things that I've come to realize about myself, and I just see holistically in everything, is that we put too much power in things outside of ourselves, right? We question our own legitimacy. We question whether or not we're right about the decisions we make about ourselves. Even if it turns out to be the wrong decision, it doesn't matter. It's what is the decision that you need to make. Now, part of this decision that you needed to make could be, I'm going to go for mentorship. I'm going to go for coaching. I'm going to take some courses. I'm going to learn about something so that I can try to make a better decision. That's part of it, right? If you choose not to do that, that's also part of it. That's the decision that you chose to make. But this idea that, you know what? This is my destiny. What did Shmi Walker say in Phantom of the Menace? She said, this is your life. It was created and written for you long before. And this is my life. This is where I belong. Why? Shmi, why couldn't you leave? Who told you couldn't leave, Shmi? So it's funny because I think about movies, y'all, and I watch movies on a level of it's art emulating life. Or life emulating art, whichever one, because they look at things that people believe and then they hone in on that and they make a whole slew more movies and make us believe that that's what it's supposed to be. But then as a woman who was a slave, who had to do this and that, marry whoever, this and that and the other, as you watch the Star Wars film, because they always go back to his mother, talk about the relationship with his mother, the trauma and the detriment of that, of her not feeling she could walk away because she owed somebody, because this is where she is and that's all she knows. We internalize that without realizing we're internalizing it. We're sitting and going, oh, but that's okay. And for some people it is. It's like being the fry person at the fast food place. That's what you like, man. When I put them fries in that hot grease and they go, and then I sprinkle them with that salt, and they got that shaker and they put that cake on salt on there. Boom, man, and toss it up. Gives me life. That gives me life. But some people don't give them life. Some people, they like, yeah, I need to be the CEO. I want to own the plane, and that's those levels. That's why we have a chessboard that has different levels on it, and people move different ways. So the people move in different ways is how we make our way through life, right? We might be L shaping it, we might be diagonaling it, we might just be jumping from one square to the next. Sometimes we go back, sometimes we go forward, but we never go back any more than we go forward, except that first step, right? So just applying all of those things. You guys, if you guys know and listen to me, I allegorically apply everything in life to everything in life because I feel like everything is tied together. Everything's associated. Hey, y'all, give me some highs. Who's there? Who is on? It's getting juicy. No one is acknowledging this. You guys, yeah, and if you disagree, please chime in. If you like Ali, that's a bunch of BS. You need to just sit back and just wait for Superman. You just need to wait for somebody to tell you that it's okay. You need to allow people to break their promises, and you don't say nothing because you don't need to say nothing. Say that if that's what you feel. I want you to say that. I want you to say that. Because I'm also at a point where I don't need the bandwagon. I don't need the I don't need that. But what I do need and love is the interaction, because that's how I determine my circles, my circles of friends, my circles of consultants and people that I confide in or chat with, or hey, I'm wanting to do this next thing, projects and different things like that. How do you know if you're not having conversations? How do you know if you can't have a conversation with a completely platonic person? How are you gonna have a conversation with somebody that you're invested in when it's hard, right? And so how do we do that? We start establishing circles early on. And we do that by having open communication with people, right? Like we gotta know what people think. If we all just accept people on face value, that's why I like the little Mormon commercial. If we all accept people on face value, we're all going to be in a world of trouble, which is where we are. But that Mormon commercial, y'all remember that Mormon commercial where they put them brown paper bags on their head, like they couldn't see their skin and stuff, and then they all was together, and then the bag flew off, and then they realized they was different races, so they separated, and I was just like, yeah, but their hands were out. It's like, am I the only person that saw that in these commercials? Anyway, you get the point. Okay. So giving too much power outside of ourselves and questioning who we are and our worth makes you start, or made me start to ask questions around, why is this acceptable? Why do we feel like we can't go and say, I don't like that. I don't like when you, I can't, let me give y'all something that you can use. I don't like it. And it's no different than silent treatment. But silent treatment is so childish, y'all, or slamming stuff, or not speaking, or I'm not, or the TikTok videos, which are just videos of the pettiness when they show like the husband or wife mad at each other, and she goes to drink her wine or whatever, but he didn't pour water in it, and it ain't wine, and he walks by with the wine and the water, or whatever, all of that stuff. Or she just fixed her hair, he comes in with the weed blower and blows her hair and messes up all her hair. It's like they being petty, but that's the silliness of it or whatever, right? But it's the mature way. We all say we're adults until it's time to communicate, but it's the mature way of sitting and going, saying to yourself or to someone else, I don't like this, but here's a tip. I don't want to be irate because I'm boiling inside. I'm pissed off to the highest level of festivity because this keeps happening. But I'm not ready to address it right now. I'm gonna come back. I'm not ready to address it. And let me tell you how important this is for someone like myself who gets over things, because I'm just like, yeah, I'm over it, whatever. But in essence, deep down, I'm not really over it, because systematically my energy, my body, my movements move in the direction of protection. Let me protect myself from this happening. And a lot of times that protection means acceptance. And when you start accepting things that you really don't like, because you're protecting yourself from saying something, or protecting yourself from, dealing with something that just really doesn't appeal to you, but it's presented to you, and you really, I don't want to hurt their feelings, or I don't want to say anything. You're creating this snowball effect, um, where in the end, 30 days later is harder than day one. 60 days is harder than day one, even day five. Let's say take day five. Now that's why it's important first, second, third dates. Like, don't Netflix and chill with people. You unless that person smacks, snorkels, snugs, sucks their throat, scratches their balls, maybe her feet stink and you don't like the, whatever, things like that, intimate things that you may find out about a person, if that's what you're gonna find out on Netflix and chill. But a lot of times just having conversations and listening to what people say, or the fact that they say nothing. So for me, that's one of the things that I've learned is I used to be a space filler because I just talk, right? And I love to share things, and I love, somebody can ask me one question about travel, about something, and I can tell you 50 stories because I got them. But then when I sit and I'm quiet, and I realize that the other person has nothing to offer, they never share, they never talk, that's not fulfilling. So then I have to think about, okay, why am I in it? Why am I staying in it? What am I getting out of it? And that's the part of that realization. What do I want from these situations that I find myself staying in? And am I going to get it? And if you're not already getting it, this is where I say you walk away. Do it sooner than later. So one of the key things that I want to share before I jump off here is we get to a point where we believe subconsciously it's okay for people to let us down. I'm going to give y'all the easiest one. I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you at this time. I'm going to call you at a certain time. And this isn't about any particular situation, but it's the one thing that people say all the time. Family members, when such and such just came to the door, I'm gonna call you as soon as they leave. Why not just say, I gotta go? I don't do that. Like, I don't tell people I'm gonna call them back. When people tell me that, I go, how about we don't? And we just end it. Or I'm gonna call you back in 15 minutes. I know women who do it, and I know men. And I also know that that's triggered from other things. It's not necessarily directed towards me, except maybe, oh God, I'm tired of talking to Ali. Let me get off the phone. Say that. Oh my God, okay, I'm so over. Okay, all right, I'm gonna let you go. Why do we do that? That's misleading. That's a broken promise. Even if it's minute, that's how it starts. Once we start accepting people telling us that, even though in the back of our minds we hate it, it's agitating, you're just like, no, they're not. First thing you say is, no, they're not. And then what do? You wait for them not. You wait for them to not. How is that healthy? Instead of simply going, no, you don't. And then when you get to a point where you're just like, okay, there's no benefit, there's no investment from this relationship, and you walk away, right? What I am offering and suggesting here is, one, it's okay to share your feelings about broken promises. It's okay to tell people that they do not make you feel good. It's okay to say, this is something I don't like, but I can't elaborate or talk about it. I'll talk about it later, or that's all I want to say. Don't give no referendums. Don't give ultimatums. Don't be, this is the last time, because you a lie. You a lie. I'm gonna call you a liar, because you're not. Because if it's the last time, you don't even need to say it. They have this thing called slow resignation, where you basically don't give your 2 weeks. You just slowly stop coming to work. I don't know how that works in a corporate setting. I feel like you got to give a 2-week notice, right? But that's what, like, this removing yourself from bad relationships could be. You could take on slow resignation, where you just slowly, quietly, I think it's called quiet resignation or quiet quitting or something like that, where you slowly and quietly just walk yourself out of a situation that is personally, not vindictively, keeping a tally of the things that you don't like and acknowledging the fact that, I'm just not strong enough to tell them. I'm just not, God, I'm just not at that point. I'm afraid, okay, I got to set up some other things. I'm going to tell you, don't be a backup person where you got to kind of go, okay, well, I got to have something fill the gap from a relationship standpoint. From a job standpoint, absolutely. Go on those interviews, make sure you got money set aside, you can live for a certain amount of time, whatever. But from a relationship standpoint, I would say, try not to have that, you got to have that bounce back and, all of that stuff, and that doesn't always work, right? But start to figure out how to, little by little, acknowledge it, be okay speaking it. And then number 3, moving forward with the appropriate action for yourself so that you can be happy. Because I guarantee you're not happy constantly thinking about why somebody always does something. And maybe you're happy completely outside of that till they pop up. But it's okay to say, I don't like it when you do that. And why do you do that? And let me elaborate on that before I get out of here. I'm also learning, wanting people to explain why they do something to you, because you're at a point to accept it and understand it doesn't mean that they're at a point to explain it, because a lot of times people haven't done their own shadow work, own self-work, self-care, self-acknowledgement, trauma bonding, finding on their own to even realize that they do it. So a lot of people become defensive. I don't do that. I don't do it all the time. What do you mean I do it all the time? That's gaslighting, and then it makes you become defensive about something that you already know you feel. Sometimes I had somebody I talked to the other day, last week, and they are like, I'm being gaslighted by somebody, and everything was great, or it seemed like it, but it's starting to unravel and this and that and the other. And I asked the person about it, mentioned it, said I didn't like this, and this person literally started to give me excuses, and bam, I blocked them. And I was like, wow, that's how you do it. Getting to a point where, okay, I invested a month, I invested 2 months, but cutting it off now is way better than, well, maybe I didn't say it the right way, because I know sometimes my tone and my pitch may come off in a certain way, and I just didn't invite them in enough to be able to explain. Give it a no, we are adults. We are not in romper room. No. And maybe that's okay for you guys, but for me, these are some of the things. And so hopefully if you guys rewatch this, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what y'all think about this whole concept of it's okay to say that, even the minutest, that's a word, of promises, it hurts. I don't like it. I don't want you to do it. And more so, I don't want you to do it. I am not going to accept it. And you don't have to say that part out loud. Knowing that you don't have to give a person an ultimatum to start making decisions on your own, to remove yourself from something that feels painful, that doesn't feel good, that rubs you the wrong way, makes your stomach turn, makes your head go, makes you sit and say, what advice would I give my friend, my mama, my sister, my cousin, my daughters? What would I tell them? Would I think that this is acceptable if it were them, right? You can leave silently. You can walk away silently. What was the movie that J-Lo was in? And Sleeping with the Enemy with what's her face, right? The movie I can't think of, and and the other actress in Sleeping with what's her face? Julia Davis. Julia. What's her last name? Pelican Brief. Eat, Pray, Love. I can't think of her name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But basically where, they created a life. She went, took swimming lessons. She did all this stuff because she was planning on leaving quietly. And she did until a person found her again. But, it's an extreme situation. But sometimes you just, because if you know your personality enough, you know that you're a sucker. You have to learn how to leave quietly without making ultimatums, because when you make ultimatums and you don't stick to your ultimatum, that is about the same as broken promises. This time, the broken promises coming from yourself. And on that note, I am going to bail. Hopefully, you guys stay tuned for little notifications. I'll try to post and schedule when I'm going to talk about bringing sand to the beach. If you are interested in being on the panel discussion, it's not going to be panels, and we're going to do a Zoom. And I would like to have some male input from travelers. And I know this might be tough. So maybe from the guys who travel, maybe short term, you don't do long term travel, but do you take sand to the beach? What's your thought on taking sand to the beach or finding sand when you get there, right? Talking about relationships, dealing with people. Do you go, is it easier if you're going out of you're traveling for 3 months for work and you're single? Do you ask somebody from home to come and visit you every now and again, or do you literally go and immerse yourself in the culture, the people that are there? And if so, what places are best to do that and which places aren't? Guys and gals, I welcome you guys just pinging me, message me, or comment and let me know if you'd be interested in jumping in on that conversation. Again, it's either going to be, I thought I was going to do it this week, so it may be a Thursday, Friday thing, but I need to get settled. So it might not be till like a Saturday thing. Okay. So, okay. All right, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please, like, subscribe, and share. You guys, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm doing this so organically. I'm really okay, I need to get this YouTube channel moving and shaking and stuff like that. So thank you guys for being patient as I figure out which road I want to travel. I still want to do these kinds of have these kinds of conversations because I deal with this stuff every day. I experience it on the road, and I want to talk about other things too, other crazy things that as travelers, as being an American woman, traveling, what that's like. What the expectation, what do people assume? And so the bringing sand to the beach is one of those dating conversations that comes up quite often. So thought I'd do a couple of lives, podcasts, blogcasts, streamings, or whatever to talk about that. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, you guys. Like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this topic, or you just want to help me get to my 1,000 subscribers. Please watch the videos and things like that to an end, because that's how the algorithm works. Put it on in the background, put it on mute if you don't want to listen to me, or whatever. But I prefer that you listen and share some input and some feedback. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. You guys know the drill. Always, always, always toodles and noodles, peace and hair grease.